There's a music box. Wow. So this is the article in question, isn't it? A small box deposited at the pawnbroker 2 months ago by Mr. McGill 2 months ago. On the night of the question of the murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the pawn shop. Quick, let's open and see what's inside. Wait. It's a music box. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Well, although in truth, I had thinking it might be the case. It would appear that box is made from music. Then it would be reasonable to assume that the device is here. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not Mr. McGill's disc. It was the disc of the victim on the omnibus. But why? Why have it for him's sake? Are we to understand the brickmakers was trying to sell this music box? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc. Yes, very well. Let the court listen to the Guru's disc.
Hold it!
Oh, but wait, Lord. Good grief, what does it mean, this, Inspector? This box and disc are, well, related to the case. No, I need to spoil this. Atmosphere of the courtroom.
Objection!
The disc made really, there's... The prosecution has no objection. What? No, the police property, you can't. Alright. Surely Scotland Yard has some vested interest in here. It's policy for the prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction to prevent that from happening. For the delay. Let's play this. What on earth? What? There's only what I call music. No. It's just the same notes, the same old... This is really priceless. Oh, well, the music is broken. Okay, it's clear it can't be. Well, obviously, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, officer, sorry. Oh, what the? I feel quite. Hold on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? That'd be a clip. I believe it could be relevant. Good God, what? How can it be? Was granting standard and the inspector by side rather telling expression on is if Gregson recognized the sounds of his familiar stuff, and if making it on edge. Is that stance? Just what relevance does he pose? It is not supposed to be music. Just because it's music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're bearing are mute. Look at that. The smile vanished from Gregson's lips as I said it. I'm right on the lines there. It must be. Making deductions based on how people react, you say. You're acting just like
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing weren't necessarily music. Well, now, if you told us that, why not? I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are, due to the likeness. Well, so you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your... They got me. I don't know the answer is, but yeah. Reno? I just examined the music box thoroughly. I'm fairly certain it's not broken at all. Oh. Really? Really? There has it must have been made by produce a single note. You know what? Thank you, Iris. Sounds like Morse code. It is. Ah, could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something just struck me right now. It feels like recently, in the past few hours even, I've been hearing another sounds like this on the music boxes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, I was just thinking the exact same thing. I'm gonna have... The testimonies are pointing to the same. The prosecution demands that the different will improve while the circulation. Alright then. The court could not give any chance to get to fight back at this trial. Am I right to join the dots together? The evidence that explains the truth and is... Where are you? Where's the... There we go.
Take that!
Today's paper, counsel. Headline is... no, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down. A ministry mole. Classified secrets have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter investigated. I have heard that international transmissions along supposed to secure lines are somehow being intercepted and linked to various other countries. And presumably those transmissions are from via telegrams. Of course. Story number 5, please input. You told us court before that you worked the same community. Did you not? Yes, that's correct. And particular station you work at that deals with government communications and the news reports. Oh yes, we're not a run-of-the-mill communication station now. Argus ring. Then tell me. It's not familiar sound? You don't mean to say is it? That's right, madame. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to the leaking telegram in the government department, could it possibly be more persuasive by the skill committee? Are you saying that the news process contains some... Yep, and that explains a lot. Order, please have an order, but this is high treason, counsel. The reserve capital to Most new capital treason and capital punishment. The sort of words I half expect you to know. For our sovereign government, confidential information, also a nation would surely pay the utmost price. Yes, and that night, 2 months ago, there was a negotiation taking place on the omnibus. But in the end, Mr. McGill perished, and the all-important distant claim of board. In which case, whoever stole the information on the place must have surely have been beside himself and worried. Because if the disc were discovered before it's found its way out of the country, so we'll have no fight for the receipt. And in order to do that, they would have gained entry to the pawnbrokery illegally, and then because the article left behind Mr. McGill would have incriminated him the wrong hands. Is that right, Mr. Braden? You think I've been stealing secret weapons? Stress. So I'm responsive to events anything? You claim completely insensitive. As I do, I would stand here silent while pretentious foreigners has been trying.
Objection!
Then, by all means, counter the charge, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusation. Related, I'm sure. But are you to hear that in mind, you Cliff? So then, let's proceed.
Hold it!
You got nothing. You got. I beg your pardon. What are you? These guys. That's right. What are these two about? Rand's counter. A mirror communication could compulsively steal confidential information. Besides, the sounds produced in musical art Morse codes, even if it was negotiation with McGill, but anyway, it has nothing relation to me. Oh, collar Dunn's breaking what we told you to do. Even if we were done, we're not touched it. Oh boy, here we go. They're like, what the heck? Mr. Sulkin? Yeah, one Mr. Do you take to admit to your crime now? That the night in question, you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, did you take part of the party in we did, God, we did. Alright, please, what do you say to them again? I have no idea what these two references are referring to. Oh, you're rotten. Yeah, it's out of monkey business. Yes. I can barely remember. Nice to know that your friends are. Whatever name you might say, I deny these accusations. Indeed. However, as it is, I'll admit to the courtroom evidence. Alright, before we start, I gotta look at that. If you don't mind me. There has to be something else. Hello? Huh? Oh, what is it, Renault? I just noticed something about this music box. It's at the bottom of the opening as well. Ah, you're right. Come to think of it, what are we waiting for? Let's open it. Alright then, here it goes. Look at that! There's some additional movement on the other side. So, does that mean... That means there's another disc in play on the back side. Yes, I think so. And it looks like there's two moments linked together. They're linked. So if we have two discs, they could possibly both play back at the same time. I would have thought there would have been a second movement. And yes, it must. Basically, each movement can be produced a single note, but the notes they produce are different. The music box can play two different tones. You know, that'll work. They're not. If anybody has a brain of a flying move. Of course. Really, it can't be that you... He's a genuine shock as my... It would be more happier to demonstrate basically. Lesson. Morse code continues us to tones. I see. For example, this A is just is there... I mean, a government secret somehow being leaked and some other things. Could there be something I haven't considered? It's very possible the music box has insurance leaking as believed the defense at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way that lines an argument? And already established that the... Yes, I'm aware of that. When what? When it was here the defense has... Have you better... How do you... Well, we just saw that earlier. good gracious. What am I looking here? Another movement on the underside of the box. What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in a music box, and the same sounds will play at the same time. Good heavens. And the court has heard Morse code correctly two tones, dot and dat, not one dat. What second disc is played could use to generate Morse code. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This is worse. I have absolutely no evidence of it. Though of course, it may. Well, I remind the court the witness was pointed out there has no that's my story. I believe across the name of the good continue. The link between grading the victim and the anonymous case must be there somewhere. I haven't found it yet. Oh dear. It looks like you need to give your argument more strength. No. Look, like Mr. Gilda told you, what do you mean? That's it, yeah, who else? I mean, it didn't matter years ago, Rodden, Dodge, and Dog. Ash. Let me stop you there, Mr. Spoken. After all the years, do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an accomplice of yours? Well, the discussing with all bodies, let's start Mr. Graydon.
Excuse me!
No, the other Mr. Spoken. Oh, me? Oh, I was remembering the old days, that is. It used to be right, we laughed together back when... Together? When Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, right back. I mean, look at him, he's fancy. Again, back when younger... Is that so? What was only one of the brains is way. A coming rest. I would never have thought it. Good, blimey. Oh, Mr. Mel. Remember, Mr. Mel. Wait, hello? Does that name sound familiar, guys? That last part. Save it until after as well. And neither of you. Oh, where are we? Yeah. Nevertheless, the court is. Either way, counsel will turn attention back to your time. I don't know, because sentiment's irrelevant. Or added to the testimony. The brother's last statement, please. Added to the well, counsel. No, you have permission. Let's detail briefly. Please. Say no more, what's going on next?
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm gonna regret asking. Exactly what was going on. Just a little scheme on the back end was the youngster I read fun of me delivering my locals what was about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. Well, that must be a catch. I'm supposed to work here. Should I ask him what? The business name. So, what was your salesman's a great name? Yeah, that's it. Melvin and Golden Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milton part came from? Oh right, I thought it was Clover Dog.
Hold it!
Enough of this. How much longer we have expect to listen to this?
Objection!
Let me guess, you don't accept the fact that these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that you only mentioned the Milton that you decided to interject? What could I, It weren't that this came from. Yeah, the old man suggested the money is wife walked out on him. So she took the name Kate. The name Kate and then I see. Ash will always be the Melton to us. Melverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is a long. I've been. Do you really think you can rely on it? You're a communication officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details might well be thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter to subpoena the record, Mr. Graydon. Well, it appears Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan's testimony has been reliable for once. If you were born Ashley Melvin, then that is correct. Very well, yes. So Ashley Gregson was Ashley Melvin. That information could change things, and could turn things extremely important. Ashley, his profile's been changed. All of a sudden, we're up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although this talk about intercepting a security government message still conjures at the stage. That it would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Genie overheard on two omnibus 2 months ago, the break-in of Windy Banks. But the trouble is, wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. Gill? No, that was Mr. Mason, the bricklayer, who was a horrible murderer. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be watertight. I wonder, could it be possibly these two? Or is it?
Objection!
Mr. Ashley Melvin, tell me, why did you try to hide your former name to the court? Because I haven't gotten that name in years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation, all. If it is, your real reason you hide that. What? Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And here we all know the victim's name is man name is understand is negotiating with Mr. Gildy. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right, only Mason was his surname after all. At all, it wasn't his surname, it was his given name. His full name, Mason Metropolitan. Gotcha! What do you just say the lie? Gotcha, Ashley! That's not the case of the victim. What's your father? I don't. I do believe I mentioned it earlier. But our family history will be thoroughly checked during your when you join us. And I recall it will take no time at all for the court to subpoena those. The truth is, you've been allegedly acquired. Who you say? You said your father was not. Well, still information being sent to the government. Yeah. Personally, safely measure against information falling in line. There's a problem with this, I have to say. By the deal with Matsuara and the Brickmaker headed as before you arrest him as the alleged man is typically disposed of stolen debt, and having learned you. But that attempt failed. There appears to be blood seeping through your seat on your jacket. But, days ago, we know the shot there was a Sheena. Right? And what? And the other struck the pouch of Mr. Sholmes' waist. And there's a one final bullet. I struck the calendar on the wall in the shop, having the first spear stuck. There's a great the one on your arm seems to be trying to hide. It's a bullet wound. It argh. You got me all trying to. I'm gonna call it quits, Crook. I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence. There are understandings. That was on my terms, remember? I paid you handsomely a come. Clearly I was a fool to trust a common back slum thieves. Fine, I admit it. There was that night. I paid the. But, as you notice, I sustained an injury on the. This guy is really getting on my nerves. He's going to go down without a fight until I show him Artemis, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense knows that has established a crucial fact, which is, well, we all know the bullet was fired from one of the two firearms, and one was fouled, and the one always. And the bullet from Mr. Renfink's gun is clearly seen as caught of Mr. Green's arm. Indeed, we must rule out possibilities of shots. And let's see, this one. But Banks was shot by a dark gun, which is only going to be fired by the dark. The only person good was you. You have the dark gun, and we saw it a while back. Oh boy. Here we go. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, here we go again. That's gonna help. Have I seen the final? I trust you're fully aware of the implications here. If it's shown that your claim's false, you will have incriminated yourself as a killer. I must ask. I hate this guy so much. This guy is so... It's this smug guy. And I, coming from a Snipe fan, this guy is too smug for me. Well, this awful lens were adjusting with the broke here. I was near the entrance of the shop. The wind makes saw moved Nash to the corner. I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man to shot himself in the car room, though at the side. Accused. Let's see. I don't think so. He has mostly claims, sir, that you have seen that. Well, here comes the problem. Yeah. This guy is so freaking stupid. The truth. Until now, the prosecution is fully unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. You say that they're... Oh, sorry, accused of coat are the same purpose. Oh, yes, quite sure. Oliver was wearing this. Really? Could have possibly shown up. A such investigation is entirely possible, Lord. What? Are only very recently A German scientist has been developing a technique for the heroes to the search science and no, that's not. Ideas are not used here. Science. That's the reason must be. Doesn't look good for now. Why not? Oh, we know that there's blood all over the V's. If they're tested companies, oh, how? Oh, you're right. I was forgetting that. Sorry. And while we're waiting results, the defense may proceed with processing. Once they find blood, the overcoat, Gina will be. Yes, one word. Cross-examination. It doesn't manage to uncover decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now. I have a bad feeling that the outcome of this trial. Oh. Let's get going. Wait, you hear it? I hear you perfectly. She threw the gun down the room. Right, I'll go her on the floor. Started. Over. Of course, I was clueless. Found the gun right hole outside. Whatever. I couldn't tell you. Or else if she was holding his cell phone. I was thinking I went and picked up. I was supposed to worry I would leave it there in case it. So it was you, in fact, who took the dark gun from the same person. Yes, it was yours, really. It's clearly. There we go. It was nonsense, I can't remember it was. Yes. Oh, Mr. Braden, when you left the farm broker that night, was it by chance it would come with you
little toe rag! Excuse me!
Gentlemen? Something wrong? Sometimes? That should be my line. You do realize you're violently shaking Mr. Shulkin. I mean, is obeying no, hey. What was going on just now? You still grab me. Why was it said they didn't mention there was a dark gun down at the station? You didn't? You didn't? Because we didn't know nothing about it. With finding people on the door. Sorry about that. I couldn't promise losing my rage sometimes, not hurting you. that wasn't that was strange. The Professor doesn't normally get locked up like that. He's normally No, that wasn't like crazy at all. He's normally sweetness and what matters. I think you might be on some case. Well, anyway, the defense generally. What's your feeling, Reno? As much as I hold him, I don't see any obvious holes in this. I have to find some way to bring this man, and quickly, because they discovered the blood the overcoat King is wearing. A bit strange that he's sure himself just seeing the blood splatter on King's coat. It doesn't strike me as source that you're trying to claim not genuine. Well, we know Indian supervision bang makes, so what's going on? All I know is it seems it's very unfair. Why would a German scientist test be acceptable as evidence when mine and Hurley's wasn't? A detective can use tests. Never mind that. I have to find a really. I have to find other.
Hold it!
As the inmates emerge from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Lance were scouring the counter when they suddenly appeared from him. I already revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I never got scared all my life. A random. Say the Perry carries a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance of the shop? Well, I was in the doorway on the way to shelving. Looking for the music, of course. The broker went to Nash in the first place. And that's when Ringo joined in and making the two. Against, I assumed. But I was wrong. I was trying to, let the old geezer talk. I pulled a gun on the old fella and something made him skip. Paragraph, get him upon more defenseless pawnbroker. Together, shaming. Hurry up.
Hold it!
Do you mean that's the moment you were shocked? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize that it happened, of course. Things crashed on the floor, to the floor, and the men were falling. Here we go. And the bullet went straight from the calendar to the wall behind you. It would appear. I looked at my arm and saw it bleed badly. I wrapped it up in a handkerchief around it. Seeing it could explain what happened to the doctor. Seeing I had no sense of my foot. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Winnebags intend to shoot you think? Oh, now, I don't imagine, even if I noticed, he even noticed I was there on us. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally anyway. It's not. When I pulled the gun on him, he tried to shove me out of the way. It scampered. At this point, what do you do?
Hold it!
Jimmy, you chased after him? I didn't recall the reason why, but all I did was ran to the back of the ship. And what did he do? Speak hole in the door mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom did the job. It's a solid job. Made of solid wood. There's a small opening, but the height lets you see right. Actually, I should know that. I walked the room that night. And what about your burglar brothers? Did you call as well? Not really, you got it. I doubt that the friends were even aware that people existed. So the Skulking brothers were there. They didn't see the killing and when you were in the sick place. It's out of story I could see the walker and that young girl sitting there. Yes, though neither of them knows I was open. Alright. Why did you see this?
Hold it!
Yes. When the crime was discovered, the defendant was found, but that was the single wall was fired. And we already established that the bullet was fired from you. But no, it was a bomber. It wasn't. But the bullet went my gun, grazed my arm, and yes, this bullet was fired. But this was another gun, entirely a third gun. The rubber was not. Gun was not the word, so clearly there had been a third. In other words, the accusers.
Objection!
I really hate this guy.
Hold it!
Oh, I hope. Yes, though the people I see. Though the stains are invisible. Well, now the. That's not what it is, isn't it? No, that's right. Mr. Mason's glove was all. Is it so annoying to accept her? But it won't. Unfortunately, we can't use it as evidence in our case. Oh, there are. Oh, Lord. Oh, boy. Explain yourself, officer. There's blood. The blood. Thank you, officer. Very well. Good boss. No. Well, would ya? The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. There's traces of my blood were found on the overcoat of the forest. Oh, you're kidding! This is bad.
Objection!
Objection!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
This is bad. And this is bad. Well, that would be it, ladies and gentlemen. That already reached enough. Like. This has come. I don't believe it. After all it came, I was unveiling. How did he? When do you agree, Mr. Naruto? Officer? Yeah. It occurs to me it's irregular, but the scientific truth determined not by science, but none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah. Well, this is the meaning of that. Oh boy. Order. What do you think you have here, detective? Last I heard, you were recruiting. Well, I would be if I had not set up an errand. What errand? Hardly. It really you? Yes, a good day, Iris. I'd rather be on the rise. Well, my lord, if you would humor me, and what matters? I have something of great importance to give to you. It's nothing more than 5 minutes. Why you? This trial has taken many hours of court time. I spent all. As I was saying, having spent a long time already, it would seem the sheriff to deny the defense of Papa. Very well then, counsel, we have 5 minutes. Fella, I apologize for that. Mr. Solms, are you alright? Alright, sorry. I just managed to summon the strength to stand the advance against you. But I fear my power is too much for me. First forgive the shot myself, huh? So make a decision to cars toss. Early, please. Let's go ahead. No. Well. The concoction of mine is really a bit of a sport assist to my investment. I never took the trouble to find the appraisal by these. Wait, mostly from the. But enough of that. I here give you this. What is that? Leaving your present, Mrs. O. It's possible matters were to settle its given. It's instructions she asked me to do this favor. Mr. Santos foresaw today's events, I believe. I knew she knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means of both devious and underhand. And you, Mr. Santos, find fairly won't do, so find it. So the mean price is you were able to give in the small parcel. Those dearly least. What's this? Oh, it's the machinery. Ah. Like this. Susie hesitated. Mr. Sato's muttered the words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't reserve the juicy dishes. What did she say? You really are the best. Oh, that's flattering. But it's hard to say that I've been completely failure. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Solms? That night, when you left Windy Banks to pursue the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraction for a certain purpose. That's your answer, dear fellow. Not very particular. Suzawa-san used the flying child that night. But why? Your 5 minutes are up. 5 minutes are up. We're out of time already. Hey. I'm grateful, oh Lord, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimously leaning. I doubt no one. But any attempts to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder. Mr. Nardo? Yes? The rest is down to you, fellow. Your part of the rest is down to me. I need to carry here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense request. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for cross-examination of a new witness. Rather, continue of the existing witness. What? It would appear that rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord. It's all the Lord's interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporary. I presume you have no objections, counsel? No, my lord. So nobody can say anything. You're now asked to resume the cross. Their coward is of life so loud. Us is it so? I would remain present at this with my court. I concur the defense is entirely within rights right. However, I will not permit unwilling practitioner these. Therefore, I've decided to afford the defense one final opportunity to conclude this cross-examination. Meaning we can't press every statement. Counsel, you must choose one statement from the witness. One piece of evidence that presents the argument against it. A single chance to present evidence. And solid. It's clear, counsel, you will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. Single statement is a single piece of evidence. That's gracious. Well then, Mr. Naruto, it's high time I fell into the dead faint. I leave this in your hand. Okay. Yes. He did that on purpose. imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the empty chambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Shannon. I know exactly where to hit. He mentioned it earlier. This is going to decide the entire. That's fine. Because he mentioned about the people earlier.
Objection!
Gotcha. What on earth is that? Oh, it's a black light, my lord. There's a way to get it to cut through the door. You think of making the way. That's right, my lord. It's a device creating a circle. Oh, door. Please, without there. I'm sure we can all work it out ourselves. Oh. Why is it... Oh, really? What? Of course it doesn't. Start with the... Why, we'll leave a keyboard. Perhaps it would describe the function of the way then. Because the contraption is able to create a peephole in the door, you can imagine. Specifically not... I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder took place. That's right. According to the paperwork in the yard, it was you and the Japanese assistant in Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us worked together, and it recently came to my attention that my assistant made use of this device. Your assistant? Why? There was a peephole in the storeroom. I can attest to that. Because if I look through the peephole myself in order to see through the locked storeroom, that's ridiculous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. There was... How could a witness kind of say? Yes, how could you? What? Counsel, kindly explain what you mean? Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. The assistant made people in the storeroom door, and until such time she did, the door had no hole through it. What? No! Oh!
Objection!
What's farce? You really suggesting that the people was where it was? Yes, it was created only in the incident to take place. Using this, her assistant tampered with the crime scene. What's Elizabeth primarily guilty? In a few moments, I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulker brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in light of the new information, it's became apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Or riddled with... explain yourself. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony appeared to incriminate the defendant. It's based upon the he witnessed with the people in the storm. Yes, that's... However, at the time of the incident, the people did not yet exist in the dark. There's no possibility you could have claimed to see it. In short, your entire testimony is a pack full of lies. What is this?
Objection!
I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. I'll do the work. Oh yes, I designed it. I got even through the top of the door. That's smart. I don't believe it for a second. I had a feeling you'd say that. What? I... Oh wait, this is all my way done. I'm not done yet, no. That doesn't mean that people will storm over. No, but it's easy. What? The cat flap creates all fixes on the sides. And it damage. Okay. Oh, silly Silky lost the word. Excellent nerves. Thank you. And now it's what? Turn off. I believe you just... For the sake of the argument, let's assume the people was... In that case, when will the people cut? Prosecution. What is the purpose of inquiry, obviously? And the very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the scene of the place. Now, then, if the perpetrator was returned to the native land, she cannot testify to the fact there's no proof. And as for long, the defense remains unable to prove it. The claims that amount to nothing more. Then, indeed, so alarms like, well, counsel, don't give up, Bruno. This is time to create your own opening of force. I don't know what to do with this, but I think it is. It's honestly the greatest in the world. Worth it. There you are.
Take that!
What are you? Friend of the detective's inferior cameras again. While the digital assistant, Mrs. Ono's is extremely highly intelligent capable. That's why I never caused a doubt that she wouldn't consider the scenario to make sure that it was necessary proof. And necessary proof if I got a friend counsel. This print is the scene the moment after the yeah, agreed. And it also shows he gives his mercy. Now there's the point. The picture is the storeroom door and the back door. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. It's quite remarkable. The door in the storeroom. It's completely devoid of a people in any direct deception. Why? It's a great end. You couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime you claim I've done, because the truth that happened, there was no people in the door. Or, in other words, your testimony is a catalog lies. That's not the only thing we know beyond a reasonable doubt. I learned that assistant guilt can no longer be denied alone. But more importantly, good Lord, there's more of those things. The defense have established a reversible instance of perjury. But there's no proof the man the victim is the killer. It wasn't there. I was there at the scene. It's true. Oh God. I'm back. Alright, it's damn. I have no defense to prove it. Still, we can't worm its way around the holiday now. Artists, you know what they say? There's no point of looking at a cat door after a cat has looked behind. Isn't that right, Rumor? As Hurley says, one lie begins another. No, wait, that may have been the line that she wrote him from. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Raiden, not only did you get false in the report, but your lies told made no sense. Made no sense? What do you mean? Said Rumor. What do you mean in testimony? Something I shouldn't have known. In other words, there's fundamental inconsistency in your statement. What?
Objection!
The Purification Talk Council won't report. Explain yourself. I was right. One lie leads against another. The inconsistency reveals in the lies of the witness statement shows Mr. Graydon's knowledge of something he shouldn't have known about, well, namely, the people itself. The point is not you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's that the nature of your lie contorted itself as revealing. You're not making sense. Let's make it a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you know of the existence of a peephole on the storeroom door? What? Well, it's obvious Gotcha! Has it... What? The peephole on the door was made after the incident occurred. And once I returned, I have failed to catch the two burglars. Scotland Yard investigator arrived immediately, and sometime police department being consistently carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Yes, of course. The place is chock full upon articles of so I gave them the order to have the officers check around the clock shift around. And consequently, there was no way you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom. In fact, the existence of the base of your testimony completely is inexcusable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains Mr. Graydon did maintain the witness to the crime took place through the people. How is that possible? I have a word, please, my lord thinks. Speak, Inspector. It just really ought to be getting back to the station. I really ought to have this again asked. Permission denied. What? It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Oh, of course, sir. Mr. Graydon? Have known the existence of that people. Which only means that you must have been informed about it by someone else.
Objection!
Stop there. You realize I trust that the words you utter have... Yes. But the defense believes that there's about the detail about the case that Mr. Graydon could have seen. Must have been revealed by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering the particular clue, there's really one person it could be. It's Mr. Gregson himself. It's the detective himself. Where is it?
Take that!
But it is. It only meant you, Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
You have some sort of... Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Graydon's identity in the last few hours. We only learned during the course of today's trial. Indeed, perhaps his testimony were made urgently during the... While the police have excluded a subpoena brought there, and until the time, Reagan would have no idea. Those inkling, but he's suddenly required to appear in court. And you're suggesting that such time he has to come in? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume that he knew nothing. It was only once Mr. Gregson was on stand, I realized his position, that he would have been to defend himself against the accusation about the third intruder. You are suggesting to the court that he was, while the trial was in custody receiving, so he could have perjury to save his own skin. Exactly. And the only person in knowledge of the investigation also had contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. It's a following outrage. Why would I give away details of investigation? I was summoned, Lord, so during the recess in the case which means the first time these two laid eyes on each other was after the proceedings was there. Since then, they've been full of view of stands. Oh, I just remembered something right now. What's that, Harris? There was a time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Jeannie was testifying. Oh yes, now you mention it. It was during the bailiff was his fasteners of guilt. That's it. It was during her testimony. Mr. Graydon and Inspector were seen to have a kind discussion. I would have been possible for you two to give the information needed to know. You will Admittedly, you wouldn't have reason to do something like that again, but perhaps it was part of the deal of some part that starts to make sense. What deal? What counsel? I wonder if perhaps the exchange happened during the people learned the crimes about them. Was a great increase to certain something to the wizard. I'm sure I need not to remind the Inspector that I found it to be true that striking a deal was a kind of witness would be considered a cross of
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping the accusation. Well, it's not prepared to listen. Now, present evidence to support the evidence. Just what is proposing this factor demand the witness to return. The court must see proof of the. It's simple. It's the CD itself. It has to be. Because if you look at a lot of his do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link to join all the dots together into the puzzle. What evidence is it? It's simple.
Take that!
It's the disc itself. Inspector Gregson? Besides the murder, it's not true that you've been working with another important case. What? Are you getting out of sunshine? Is it possible that another top secret case was alerted to the newspaper article here? The classified secrets leaked overseas from the Minister of Justice? Oh, audibly, no, can you review? Now, we discovered during the course of the trial the music deposited in the Winning Banks environment Mr. McGill. A special music designed to discs more. It could possibly seem very likely that it coded to the parallel disc or Mr. McGill's possessions. are leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, in order to recover a second disc containing those secrets. Wait, so good thing. The disc product. Oh, you. And I just got him right there. On the day of the incident, we met you in Windybanks, and you said this. I'll be taking that, whatever it is, Mr. McGillen's down to the yard very much. Hand over. Oh, don't give it. I'm not lying. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Miss McGill has been taken to Emma's now. So Leonard already know at the time, isn't it right? That Magnus McGill was involved in stealing of the government secret. Yeah, the orders were recover the medium used to cover the secret leads in the mystery, and do on the QT strictly hush hush. And that explains why I presented the disc as evidence to the court. You objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew it continually how the credential information. Well, I mean, not likely. I mean, I wasn't sure of it myself. Oh, I realized as quickly it was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you are not saying that in order to acquire a second music box, you would indeed reveal confidential to aid the abandoned man and give me a pulse. There's no other way, Mr. Nolan, the evidence will be. No, it's a deal. No.
Objection!
And stress if solving certain terms of the home is true, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, in this very court. What? In this court? How would it possibly claim that? Because Inspector Grayson and the Scotland Yard detectives. What? What is it supposed to mean? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached an alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would have not accepted a gentleman's agreement in matters. No, it would have vested a huge agreement upon the palm of his hand. Good gracious, then you mean to say Inspector Grayson already had the item in question in his possession? He has a second.
Yes!
That's it. They could have struck a deal. Okay. Please. Well, Inspector. This young lad wants to... Or... if Oh, it's going. I assume you're aware of... You... Oh boy. Indeed, to have a visiting student is such a fact remark. It is not something Her Majesty's government will be. You're just a threatening Bruno because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must prepare for the great consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson to accept a gentleman's offer without question. This must be visible of hands, which means the Spectre should, but somehow, something doesn't feel quite right. Very well, Counsel. You may now. Yes. Do you... Nope. Yes, the defense. Fine. Well, Don't you say you weren't warned? It's a... Some good. Fair enough. Okay. Very well then. Yeah.
Objection!
Defense demands a search, but not the Inspector Gregson. What? What now? What's this? What's all this? You remember earlier when he shake down the guy? Somebody else. What? You mean all this? What? Quarters shouldn't have what the nonsense here. Be quiet, all of you. Bruno's doing what he's told to do, and to have the courage to commit. So you should respect and listen. Well, yes, it has good faith. That's the British way. Huh? Well said, young lady. Indeed, the court is aware of the defense's counsel's prevention of the break. But what? Don't really hasten, my lord. If I'm not mistaken, and I've seen about the things I've seen in court today, it's fairly known that the disc at the moment is on one other person can be. And it's the other brother.
Take that!
Oh, my lord, it's on our Mr. Nashskull. Why, I never... He blamed him. Very well then. Vela.
Hold it!
Please, my lord. Inspector. Scotland Yard.
Objection!
I'm also for you, Inspector. Your objection carries no weight here. In a courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense has the authority to object. But, my lord, please. I have no idea what forces reflecting might oppose your actions. But personally, I have no intentions of obstructing the course of destruction. Good. Yeah, curious, sir. Got it. Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this. Good lord, that's another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it, nothing. Case closed. That's the second music box disc left behind, Mr. Magmix. Is it not? Inspector Gregg. Justice spoken at Hobbies. Alright, blind me. I mean, just Gordon. I swear I never know things like that. Also, what do you say to places from here? Deal stuff behind the and the detective? No? Without a question, my lord. Then pity for sake. Why on earth was the man's possession? His vibration is shrewd and calculating man who rarely loses his composure, but on one particular point of trial, exhibited some unusual behavior. There we go. I don't recall. Oh, what are you? It was during the cross-examination of Mr. Grady. So when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was there by chance a second disc in your jacket? I meant nothing of sorts. While Mr. Grady was answering the question, the inspector appeared to be grabbing Mr. Sulkin out of his coat and shaking violently. Yeah, no, there's nothing with the flame right now. I wish I was warning, bro. And what exactly happened makes you the detective attacking like that? I got no clue. It suddenly just grabbed me, but like standing and shaking me. Why was it that you mentioned the third gun? We were down the station. What it said? He yelled right down to the old did. Me head was throbbing right now. The way the detective behaved extremely is out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then when he did it. That was the opportunity for Inspector Gregson to hold himself in the heart. You... I'm afraid I could find you. If the detective was a part of the discount hall, why on earth would he compel him to hide it? It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why not? Why or not? As a man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment is special. Pirates were recovered and a top secret. As far as we are aware, the information stolen comes from confidential. It would seem as if the information were to be revealed in the court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under strict orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing that you had a chance to make search here in the courtroom, you stopped in the hide the disc and then acquired from the witness. Does this mean he only pretended to attack the bit in order to get closer? Slipped the disc into his pocket. So there was a patent. Well now, Inspector Gregson and your Graydon, are you prepared to admit the No, he's not. I get to it. You truly, please. Yes, Graydon. At least.
Objection!
Then. Yes, I lied in my testimony, that I meant, but in sense, no. But that's all I meant. Oh, it's not. What about you? This is that. This is bad. She's gonna be found guilty. I don't imagine believes that. There's some proof of Braden, or some evidence of... Well then, that's all. Everything is signed. It's like the judge calls the jurors to announce their readings. So there's no clue choice then. You have to throw some. This is now. I have some. Alright, great. It's the inspector himself. Inspector Gregson, there is one final evidence I would like to you to see. What is that? If you refuse to acknowledge that what you did is strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave me no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on. This is the last chance. We're going to have to enforce one final piece of evidence to get the detectives to meant to clear this. Case closed! Is that Mr. McGill's? Yes, with the disc already. If I perhaps were a good time to listen to the sound if I can. Only this time. Case closed. But the second desk we discovered is that in as well. Oh, the disc. This disc.
Hold it!
Oh, wait. I can't let you do that. Why not? I'm not nothing to do with the case. Why?
Objection!
Sorry, but we already proved that differently. That's true, Inspector. Huh? The defense has already proposed that the sound we heard in the courtroom earlier in the music were indeed part of Morse code. We know Morse code is common to 216 code. The defense believed the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. Now we have a chance to confirm that theory. We're We're talking about state secrets here. If you're going to let the whole court that was great. Then you admit to the charge in order to protect those state secrets and endanger the wrongful dealing with a witness. You were mad. If you're such that secret, you'll
Objection!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland officer, leaked confidential case details as a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, all because you are by fair means or foul to determine your duty. Well, by fair means, foul, I'm prepared to do mine. You dare. I will suffer nothing to protect my client, and I don't care who I'm making enemy of. My lord, please, if you please. We're almost here. Come on, for Pete's sake, stop on.
Objection!
Inspector, you should know my method by now. Oof! I'm prosecutor, not Scotland Yard's puppet. In the courtroom, my duty is to the law. The only goes to the toast. So revealing the truth, by fair means or foul. The defense stands here, all the prosecution immediately clear court, answer to the defense request. The court will, with this time, with the second disc in place for both playing simultaneously. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code. Hold it. Alright, I made it. Whatever you want. But for the Lord, shut that blooming dogs up. And with that, Grayson's protection is shattered. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you or did you not strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Master Graydon? And specifically, did you furnish the witness with a confidential case in exchange for a music box disc? Did you reveal assistant people of the pawnbroker you storeroom inspector? Yeah, I did. What are you doing, man? It's all exactly as the wisdom your lawyer said. The trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood here to stand. How I did that? That's when he approached me with a deal. Shut up, you imbecile. Oh, shut up. Psst, you here. You were the detective that turned up on the Von Rover the other day, aren't you? Yeah, I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment, but how would the outer space suggest you step? Everybody should now make you certain a vessel uncomfortable that will make something become very pleasant here. I couldn't let that decision become public knowledge, not in any circumstances. I accepted the man's proposal, and I told him the details about the case that should have been put in clear. And the people, the storeroom, and the blood stain over the overcoat. By giving false testimony, the witness indeed intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. You still received the details facilitating the witness's perjury. I did. But then it turned out the people only been made the night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard was unaware of that. I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape the conviction of your very serious crime, namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawn yard the late night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pops Windbanks. Murder! Oh, Jesus Christ. Case closed. Bailiff, restrain the man. At once. Yeah, the case is over, folks. And that's it then. It's all over. The final case of this first adventure is over. I deposited my life savings growing up to those slums are a vile place. I was cursed on birth, born to poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day. What little money they had never was spent on me. Wow, dude. So let it be. I said about studying to better myself one day to escape that hell. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But you decided to try selling government secrets. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmare of my life in the slums wake me every hour. I won't lie, this guy is making me cry already. Feel bad for him. I will admit I'm feeling bad for him though, but he should not have done what he did. Not gonna lie. I wanted to drown him out with more money than anyone who lived a swallow could imagine. And one day I met him. Magnus McGilden. Where's Magnus? You earn the wild talent, so you are So you are. I have money to throw away. Your way. You're interested. All you need to do is go along with me in my little plan now. I was just stealing the ministry's telepathic messages, logs, and McGill would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspecting the section of the administration's communications office, it was simply enough task. The lure of the devil's offering. It's how easy it was to succumb. But you surely must have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great length to ensure that my actions were untraceable by using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was a child. Yes, Magnus Melverton. That's right, he was skilled with his hands. He had once made a music box music box maker's apprentice. I imagine his skills would have sufficed to create a machine that would greatly generate mass code. Though I thought my father again to employ his service. The first time I've seen him since I left the slums 10 years ago. Wow, dude. And this is all coming together, dude. You look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you became, man. He was different, a different man from the one in my memory, thin and frail man. But poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I'm sure he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason, so I made up a story. I've got some work. I got some work for you, Father. I need a music box disc made. Music boxes, eh? A musician friend of mine had written some music on it and wants to sell it publicly. I thought that's about to score with me so we can look at it too, actually. Well, I'm a light son. It's been 20 years since I did any artwork like this. Fetch the tools, would you? But they'll be a lot. That's how we made them make 2 discs. Thereby splitting the information in 2. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It seemed I could deal with Mr. McGill in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the 2 discs and his music box playing with them for them in exchange for Miss McGill for 10 guineas. Yes. On the receipt, the second disc he would pay 1,000 guineas. So what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago was the second part of the deal to exchange the second disc. Yes, I sold the man's information. I sold the man information the way the number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. Why was it that you on the off? Your father, Mr. Melverton, was dealing with Mr. McGill and not yourself. And I received 1,000 guineas after my first compelled dealing with Mr. McGill. I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. You should give him more, but to be honest, But my father realized something was amiss. In time, we worked out involved in something dubious. And what he did said to me, next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understood? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore. Oh, wow. Damn, the money didn't mean anything. That was my father's way of dealing it, I suppose. Climb onto the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from Miss McGill. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc. I asked him to make he never knew. Just like I never knew why everyone went so horribly wrong that night. Well, all I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then after I found out what sort of monster Mr. McGill it was. After 10 years, not once, or I swore on my father's name. To extract revenge. Revenge? Oh! As anybody with knowledge of the man who's doubt willing to imagine, Miss McGill was brought all the wealth and influence to bear in the most impeccable ways. To crush and symbol justice in his trial. The crime was tampered with evidence, it was fixed, the witnesses were bribed. The trial 2 months ago was farced from the start to finish. My feet had barely touched the wetness ground, and I walked into a hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background. I made plenty of money out of my dealing with Mr. McGill by then. I spared nothing in my arrangement in 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. Mr. McGill himself showed me that. Are you saying that? I think you have a picture now. After he twisted everything in his favor, the courtroom is sure to walk free. It matters on his own hands and deliver the justice that monster deserved. He was behind the incident. That tragic accident following the trial 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. Mr. McGill's death that day was caused by this man. Everything's ready, sir. If you like to follow me in the courtroom. What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner the lad believe. Well, it's not convenient, sir, but there are some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. Time for inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again. I was told. I asked if I could present it for myself. So that policeman who came to kill Mr. McGill, that's one again. That's right, an ex-poster hired by me. Mr. McGill did use his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate in the manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one sham policeman ushered the Mr. McGill inside and said one ran into hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account, indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was loose ends, you see. A loose end. Yes, I should think it's obvious the second disc, which my father had taken in exchange for Mr. McGill. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention in the man's trial months ago. Clearly, it has been removed from the scene of the crime. Then when I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first trial time I dealt with Mr. McGill. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Oh, look at that now. What a ingenious invention. So then, as promised, 10 Guinness for you, young man. What? What's this? Wendy Bank's pawnbroker. Aye, the pawnbroker ticket, so it is. You can see it redeems articles and it can have deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell them to watch for it. I put a jewel in pawn for ye, and I'll fetch a good 10 Guinness. And if you sell it with, well, I've never heard of a pawnbrokery that used to went quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Ridden? London's pawnbrokery are very useful places. You know each other like an extremely secure vault. Wow. So I knew that he'd been taking steps to hide the desk. It would be in the pawnbrokery somewhere. On that night he killed my father, he must have entrusted someone with the ticket. Yeah. I remember now that when we first met you in Windybanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Trade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of Mr. McGillicuddy's pawns. He must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced that it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion that the girl would come to the woodwork and redempt the deadline. And he was absolutely right. Yeah. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went and makes him redeem the article. Unfortunately, she redeemed only Miss McGillicuddy's overcoat, and one disc was in its pocket. All important music box was the second disc inside was missing, because it was already been forfeited 2 days earlier. I was unaware of that fact. Had I not, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, our investigations into the stolen government secrets was progressing. We picked up on the fact that Miss McGillicuddy was involved. Inspector, you recovered fast. Yeah, he sure did. My orders were to recover the stolen information quickly as possible. So we gathered the fellow's possessions and examined whether we could lay out on our hands. We have full-scale investigation going on the yard, but we had to keep it quiet as we could. Then when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery today, I became nervous. I was sure that the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew it was a waste against time. I had to find those articles before he released it. So that's what prompted you to break into the place last night. That same night. With the help of your friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box and I sold to Mr. McGillicuddy on the shelves as a forfeited article, and the second disc was inside. I slipped it into my pocket with a few days sigh of relief, but then something entirely unexpected happened. He shot ya. What are you doing in my shop? He shot ya. A gunshot rang through his heart, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced through your limb. That's exactly, but unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. I remember that. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for a refugee. If he hadn't, he probably would still be alive. A sorry tale. A sorry tale. So it all took place in the blink of an eye. I didn't imagine Nash and Ringo or even realize what had happened in the first place. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. Everything from what happened when it makes the West night. I do feel bad for the guy, but he could have went on a different route. Earlier, you called Mr. Giddens a monster. A man who uses his wealth and influence to distort the facts, escape justice from crimes and murder. And what a tragic irony, for what you have done is exactly the same. Oh, the irony. You became the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in Miss McGilded. Yes, I think I have. You became what you sought to destroy. Is the phrase. Well, I think it's a long time in the Dawson trial. However, it would seem the last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Wilson was Mr. Axel Graydon. He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He will be charged for murder of Mr. Windybank and stealing government secrets. Very good. You, Inspector, regardless, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord. Of course. It transpires that you were conflicted on helping a criminal escape justice. The fact remains whether or not you are doing it to the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector. Inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Yeah? It's time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Miss Foreman? Yes, Mr. Let's push. Let's final call. Final whistle. My man is deliberative verdict. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare the final decision.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
And with that, the case is over. That's almost. Finally, Reno, you managed to do it. Finally is the word. I wasn't really sure to come out of the top of the wall there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet. What? Why are you talking like that? Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider. 2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? In relation to the trial, you're not only did you unlawfully enter the Windybank's farm robbery, but you also attempted abscond with the Mr. Gilded property. I never done nothing of the sorts. Of course not. It's likely you were gleefully wearing Mr. Gilded's coat in your cell or anything. And just when I was getting excited for throwing a party for Genius and evening, and turning into our attention for the defense. Determined that you played together the music box, the disc contained the message Morse code was, well, it was certainly most unexpected revelation of counsel. Oh. Why so, my lord? The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud our learned friend here today. I propose a toast. To determine the government's secret is disintimidated before the entire court. Very sorry about that. I was only doing that to get the inspectoration to admit what he'd done, so. If I may, something to point out. What, isn't that? Is it? It's about the sound produced in the mist before. I wonder if it was really most court at all. What? What are you saying, madame? Oh, well, it's just really rather fascinating about comes and Morse code, you see. Some the whole world is covered with dots and dashes, in fact. Good gracious, madame, are you unhealthy well as a session with feels? Well, I must say, in my opinion, the sound produced by the two discs were nothing more than that. Meaningless two different tones. What? It wasn't. Oh boy, here we go. Sorry to trade national secrets. Learn me secrets required from Miss McGraden. Now that that man has admitted his crimes, we have no need to pursue that matter further. But it's really gonna bother me. I agree. Miss Lestrade. Yeah? My lord? What you have seen today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsifying evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity, an appalling experience on behalf of any child. Come on, it ain't nothing I've seen these days back in the slums. I beg your pardon? If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. Well, look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want to change, you've got to start at home. You gotta change yourself, how yourself are. She's right. Very well. That's a very laudable offense. Lesson, I would say. I really work for your born again Miss Lestrade. Let's never waste my courtroom. The president again. Now, with regards to the murder of Mr. Pop Windbank, perpetrator, pawnbroker of the business of Barker Street, I bear declare the defendant, Miss Jean Lestrade, not guilty. Nice little touch to that. That's all. Council is adjourned. Order is adjourned. Right. Oh, something I didn't expect. One on a personal note, say I must say you inspired me, my partisan friend. Oh. Despite being, I'm not gonna say that. You saw through the pretense to the malice that's festered within that Englishman. And at the same time, through the grim of the surprise the heart of your English client. You have the curious talent for judging character, especially considering our different cultures. I don't think there's any curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Britain or Eastern Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not very different from on the inside. You know, I took this case for a very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in this courtroom. You did. When I encountered you the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting a friendship with one another, only to find my trust betrayed. Though through you, I hope to look into the eyes of a man I once knew and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today about total betrayal at the hands of a Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. One day, the time when the time comes, you will learn the answer whether you like it or not. Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of Bailey in my retirement from a service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned friend. Until we meet again. Oh, we'll meet again. I'm not gonna say that name because I am aware that's racist. So I'm not gonna say that. And if I accidentally utter that, I am sorry. I really, really hate that type of stuff. All over. But where did Iris disappear to? Hey Gina. Congratulations, Gina. I knew all along you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me right up to the end. Yeah, you're an odd in your name. What odd about it? I told you I had faith in me. No one's ever, as before, see? Kept a promise, I mean properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life growing up in the slums, I never trusted no one. But that's cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more is when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, it all had a taste back in the 2 months ago. I trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently. Trusting someone else is an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's right to do so, you trust your reward. There's better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me that about you. Listen. Oh well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me though. I'm trying to say for my faith in you, Gina. It's been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. This is the way I see it, Rinosowski. A defensive warrior is always good as his faith in his defiant. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After the experience, I've started to feel like I understand what you mean. Cause I'm living up to your expectations and turning out to be the lawyer I can believe. Fireman or Ruffin? Oh. Was introduced the man as introduced around here, my dear. Oh, he's here? It's sorry for the late voice now, Mr. Naruto. I've been standing here playing a corner in the room at 10:30. Yes, it's me all along. I've been said I've fallen knows me. Of all people, that one. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, it's me all along, you see. Take off that outfit, dude. I assume you've been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh boy. Happened to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I really made my knowledge of them known to the men who happily issued me a leave of absence. How very above the board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Nardo. Congratulations are in order. A close friend, tip my hat to you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? Well, all you have been having a snooze in your nice out bed. I've been fighting for our life. Oh well, that bullet did cause me to lose some substantial amount of blood, it's true. But I am indeed feeling somewhat cold. Not cold as well, but that's what I found. Could you take that hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And in some way, I suppose congratulations are in order, you too, Miss Lestrade. What are you supposed to mean? Why is so half-hearted? Well, naturally, isn't intentional alarm you, but an acquittal in the trial with a particular prosecutor, perhaps it's a little pressure. Curious. Oh, sad Mr. It was not alarming the slightest. Oh, the reefer, you mean? Cause then you're found guilty, not guilty. That's the point I was trying to make. As an exemplified fate, Miss McGillis, in fact. But of course, I paid no attention to irrational drivel of myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit of like I'm upstart. Him upstart? You mean like God? Yeah, I'm upstart. Knows what's what, right? He knows what's people's like inside. He ain't get what's and I forgot the wrong answer. There are some coves like that like what rotten into the core. At the end of the day, I am upstart make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, but the Reaper is taking matters in his own hands, claiming lives on this another. Well, it ain't like that, Mr. McGill as well words, so I ain't scared of principle. A trial which you've been admired, Miss Lestrade. Oh, give it a rest, alright. I was saying congratulations are in order. This your acquittal is very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. How long? There you are, Hurley. Yeah. Honestly, the main entrance is especially meet you there. Rest, my dear. I do apologize. Wait until I'll let you have what happened. Fair finally fools themselves. What happened? As you know, I pinched for disguise as I was hiding in the room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris, who would you credit it? Not sure really. I beg your pardon? I'm sure, Hurley, but you just didn't have the presence to seem like you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's gonna land you in trouble one day. Touche. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was hoping to throw a party for Gina tonight. Hey, you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look, I'm gonna be going anywhere for a while. You're the judge's powder, or I got some amends for apparently all them offenses. What is it again? Breaking and entering, talking, and stuff. What lug, blah 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 blah. Yes. You find out basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But diving isn't an offense, it's a job, ain't it? I don't think so. Still, as it got me thinking all this, maybe I should looking for some new line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you? No, I was never a pickpocket either. Well, anyway, I reckon I would make a change. I'm gonna do something for a lot like me from the slums. Something that'll make a difference for them. Well, that's a wonderful idea. I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Let's see the last trade. Bailiff's carriage has arrived, ma'am. The brigade one. Right. Well, looking like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Dina. And good luck. Yes? What? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say though. Indeed. As the situation calls for a phrase inherited missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. On occasions as such as this. Hello. I recommend a simple thank you. Oh yes, it's a good advice, Jeannie. Right, I see. Well, thanks. Oh. Wow. Thank you for everything, what you done. Believing in me. Not at all. In fact, I should be that in my life. Thank you, Gina. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever cross her see her again. Oh well, that's quite an impeccable pickpocket. Oh, I never forgot. I brought the papers outside. A special edition. The trial's over in front of the page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't wonderful? I should have known that Gina, Iris, she would have been thrilled. Sure, Gina, sure. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like for me to good news or bad news? Well, not again. Oh, what did you say right now, Harley? As usual, I think rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention to saying any bad. There you have it. How people answers the question, a lot of them doesn't fit. Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped, and its records level of rainfall apparently. Well, that's the good news indeed. We're getting back to greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? The huge storm has the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful sailing to Dover has been delayed a day or more. Wait, Dover. That's right. If we head to the station immediately, We may still make it away for Susie off. Let's do it. What? There won't be a train, surely. We won't be straight luckily. What do you think I am, Mr. Naruto? Mr. Sholmes. I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made an arrangement with Special Express. If we hurry, we shall be there for time for dinner. And I know a fine restaurant where most delicious soul. I don't. The great detective does it again. But indeed he does. Indeed, we're a number of rails transport director fumbles. What? And merely made my knowledge known to the man he's happily in the ground of elementary. Just an idea, but might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? London, Victoria. April 18th, 5:23 a.m. That took somewhat longer than I anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave by now. Mrs. Otto, where are you? Hello? Over there, look. Looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Mrs. Otto, wait. What are you doing? Mr. Naruto, what are you doing here? We came as soon as after the trial, I mean. We heard the sailing is delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then, tell me, how did you know it went well as she was acquitted? That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw in the sea. It was your encyclopedia of British law, wasn't it? Oh dear, it was hoping you didn't see that. Not worthy practicing law. Anyway, now. So I was saying, my friend Formel, you were saying goodbye to law. You used his auto sign. Would we correctly assume it's because of the peephole, Mrs. Otto? I deliberately altered the scene of the crime and I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly forgivable. That reminds me. How did you come to this, Mrs. Otto, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? About the art of pickpocketing. Oh, that's a wonderful... I still one of those art band. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band is very important. Well, if it's so important, why are you paying more attention to it if you didn't know that it's dangerous? Point that. On a whim, I thought it was fun to see if I could take the cap and put it in my sleeves. Oh, really? Then I forgot about it until I found myself in Winniebank's shop with later in that night. I see. And then... After Mr. Naruto left the shop, I started to think that door behind... I started to pay him my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized I could only be... And at the moment, the little device I had up my sleeve started to buy. I was so worried about Gina, I saw in flight. Something had to know. So you used the clapperment to make the peephole in the door. I kept contraption photographic print of the song. One of Hurley's right-handed recorders. Indeed, it was the first importance at that point. Precisely when the people was made, that information first proven by Mr. That naturally, without proof, would have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight of my eyes relied upon a girl. Though it startled me to run through my mind. Remember the trial 2 months earlier? The trial of Magnus McGillis. Though he had manipulated I thought he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. I made the British justice system feel very dark and sensitive. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked as though Gina was shot at Minnie Banks, even though she had never done such a thing. You worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right, but then I realized. It would be very difficult for anybody to give false testimony in that case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have appeared behind the locked door room. For someone to appear falsely as a witness is... Oh my god, so much words. Seems beyond that door. Seems way behind the door. For which a people would be the very thing. Only the people I made wasn't there until after the crime was having committed, of course. The criminal would have known that so I wouldn't make it any difference. But the possibilities of a rather intentional trap was there, or was it not? A trap? Is that really why she did it? So that's why he kept his secret, Susie. He never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even the police. I know, and I knew at the time I was doing was a wrong criminal offense. And so I decided to confide to Mr. Holmes. If Master Naruto was completely backed in the corner, and all other possibility means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. That was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? I fear, dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, you would have been rendered complicated and escaped it. Conflict in the skip. You could have been disbarred if you hadn't been, and to have knowledge of tamper the crime scene. So Mr. Sato decided to shudder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, Miss Lestrade. Mr. Sato, the truth is, what happened? I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. And the moment I allowed myself to think that, is the moment I had lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. Wow. What he did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using the people as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the people inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Otto, what you did saved Gina's life. Oh, if you didn't. With your kind words, Mr. Naruto, you saved me too from my regret. Well, we must be thankful Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some loose ends of the trial will continue to play on my mind. But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret message. What a triumph workout that is. Full and rate. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't. There was a communication officer amongst the jury. You see, a telegram officer. She said the majority of the sounds of this were meaningless tones. As one expected, after all, we were talking about secret government communication. No doubt, though they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood, would be a preference. And the cipher, I see. So then that would mean we could never have hoped to understand that message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. I quite pinpointed the problem, I assure you. So, okay. What? Oh, that can't be a real name, can it? Wait, Iris, what did you just say? Oh, it just said Asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Meaning something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? How? How do you know the name of Iris? It's been down here during the trial when the message was playing during the music box. She transcribed it on the fly. What? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written and out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways of interpreting it. But whatever I tried, in the words, it just doesn't seem to make any sense. The part is, English is in English at least. Oh. It certainly occurred to me, see, there are more than one Morse codes, not just English variety. Various countries in the world have altered and added Morse code to use in their own language. I don't believe it. Are you saying? That's right. I only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. I think it's based on the Irohot program, isn't it? And you mean to say the Japanese Morse code? One message says Asahi. Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Alright, so let me look at that. See that? Mr. Sato, do you know about Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become very important in international communications. That might be recommended, my dear. That you focus on your efforts on the English version. But if it's Iris, show me the message, please. Yes. What can this possibly mean? Why is the long sequence supposed to mean dashing? It could only color Drainpuss's on his face. There is no doubt this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British has been using Japanese for secret communications. I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names. First is Kei Asagi Kazuma. Why? Why is his name on the disc? The second is A Shin. Shin. I don't recognize the name. The third is T. Gregerson. Gregson. And it seemed Tobias Gregson was the third man on the list. And his name was doing in the secret communications as well. And the last name... What's the latter, Sasato? It's just so strange and unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Keep us in suspense. Last name is J. Wilson. No way! What? Wilson. John H. Wilson. You mean Daddy? It only says J.H. Wilson, but I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it translates to Japanese, that's all 4. That is the end of the message, rather than the end of the word nose and drawn iris. I just can't believe it. Who would have ever thought that this contains Japanese Morse code? Not to mention the strange list of serving familiar names. It would appear that particular message is communication is sort of kind of between Great Britain and Japan. So Teddy could still be Japan then. Where Susan come from? Oh well. No, it's not very likely, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname J. Amongst them. Professor John H. Wilson. Professor of Medicine in the Imperial University. But we can't tell Iris about that now, just in case. This is so strange. So in the case of Miss Whittingbank's murder day, I feel like I rolled back a boulder a few months, at the month of a dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's the dark cave we shouldn't be wandering inside. Well, it's time for her to get going. Oh dear, the ship's going ready to set sail. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail the stern ship. First port Dorsk in France. I will change in a larger, faster vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie? I wish you safe passage, Mrs. Otto. Thank you so much. I will see you all the very best. Mrs. Otto. I had hoped that I was to be to guide me and support me. Mrs. Otto, please, come back soon. As soon as I'm concerned. Sorry, you really are the best of your sister. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise, yet I'd fulfilled a promise about your manuscript. Oh yes, the Hound of Baskervilles. I'll be waiting for you, Susie. Promise a promise. Well, definitely, Iris. This music. Leonardo? Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. That's Astoria, when I was dragged out from the wardrobe half asleep. I still remember rightfully he told me I would cross the cabin as soon as I take that. You know very well I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being drawn together, we were in that case. I feel somewhat straight. Why? That you were the perfect person to get to use Kazama's legacy, right, Mrs. Otto? My instincts were right. You really want to believe? No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell then. I don't care how long this is gonna be. We're ending this entire thing now. Toy the final cutscene, folks.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruto. Yes, Mr. Solms. I have some rather awkward news. The Rainwell Company has decided to sue over the special express trains, apparently. It's caused such a commotion in the line. All over the trains, that situation. But really, we would never made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your Really? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to you in the office tomorrow. But not to worry, my fellow. According to Mr. Soil, you're love defending yourself in It's alright. It's perfectly average, that's why. He really didn't like the sort of man who did something outrageously. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, a word, if you don't mind. I certainly any word you like. Well, out. Oh yes, Marno's words. See here. That's fine. Then, I say.
Objection!
And that's the final case of the first game. Oh my god. I can see why a lot of people say this is one of the best cases of the first game. It's the following weeks. Hundreds of music boxes have arrived on the Bakersfield, somehow afoot. Though it's transpired I had ordered myself. I saw I buyers themselves used by Mr. Solms to solve an important case. All and the money earned to consulting the detective who works, pays pension, and what I can't. But yeah, I'll get my final thoughts once the credits is over. Sorry to say. I haven't slept in a week. This manuscript is due tomorrow now. Well, I've been busy. Hurley's cooked some breakfast, and cooked over is another statement. So I tried dirty toast. I'm too much surgery. Her love is Japanese breakfast. Oh. Well done with the music. Oddness, your testimony. Fatal and full of contradiction. Exactly. Rarely did I find the government court under the rare mistake themselves. Absolutely. Lanosa, his father is innocent. The man is calling his son. My son. Witness. My courtroom. That's not a place. But yes, I'm great. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low in some. but last night I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I've done nothing wrong. All I did was give my wine offering to West Target. A man is bringing a kitten on board and suddenly 100 cart and artigram. Well, it's not fair. Oh, poor guy. The scripting could be a little bit done better translation-wise, to be honest. Oh, Mr. Songers, but scientific investigation will be a gold standard for policing this day. I've dreamed the world governed by tenets in order to discipline, and the great clock, in fact, 100 part mesh and together in mission. Now, excuse me, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's my next meeting. Well done. Nice. The latest Ransig magazine is out, and I'm in it again. Whatever it says, I'm one line she can get. I get a standing is when I hear it. Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Oh, God. Really should put me to shame. And yet you're still a fan of her. I respect you guys. Oh, her chap. Been visiting the old girl daily on a business course. Joni's an old jailbird, but must be batting Al Bailey every day. Wonders if I managed to while the household basis. Oh gosh, there's it's a man in this house is a maid. Lee, Oh, you too. My role is back in the bee again, all thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more than these days of hunting small change in the gutter. Oof. I bet I'm a better Bobby now. Looking forward to the line nearest and dropping by my lovely wife. So he pretty much got gutter duty. Oh, so basically he got gutter duty. Oof. I could have done a little better with the UI. Oh boy, Vina. Looks like I'm gonna be doing a bit of time for now. But Iris comes by every day, no matter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about the case of what Soames is looking into. Criminal investigation, all kind of interest when you get into them. Oh, you. Yes, I renounce my upbringing of the choice of life as a physical crime. But regrets, please. Give it her, Buck said. You ain't Ash we used to know. Gotta explain to you about Milverton, Skulking, and Milkman. 3, what's it? In the Milk neighborhood at Weather Earth. Now explain the dance he does. Like, I do feel bad for the guy. I'll talk more about that later, but jeez. This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that my life is all about. Naruto-san, I promise. Your assistant will return one day. But for now, I'll leave you with many memories and a heartful wish. With the life you will treat you well. Aww. And that's case 5 of the first. And that's the Greatest Detective Chronicles, the first game. My God, was this a roller coaster of a ride? I gotta say, this was a fun game. I do agree with some of the mixed opinions with a lot of people, but that was mostly because of the fan translation. I've never, like I said, I've never watched any or played any of the fan translation stuff. I will say this game was very fun. I really can't put my final thoughts into this until probably till near the end. Until I complete the second game. But right now this is like a solid 7. This entire first half of the game. The entire duology is like a 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. It's fun. It's really good. In terms of favorite to least favorite cases, I'm in the same boat, no pun intended, for case 2 being one of the worst. No questions about it. Case 4 is definitely number 4 on the list, no pun intended either. Case 1's definitely the 3rd row on it. And case 3 is definitely one, if not the best cases in the game. But I still say the 5th case did almost a perfect job. Though I do admit the case does have its faults. Here's hoping the second half of the duology games fixes that. No spoilers from anybody else, please. I will say though, the villains for the third, I'll say definitely the first case's villain is definitely hated by all means. And in the third case, deplorable is definitely the word I have to get for him. There's Mr. Smug McGill himself. Ugh. Though I definitely gotta say, I do feel bad for the final case's victim, the killer, because it could have been avoided. Oh yeah, translation. Nice work on majority of the translating, by the way. Some of them still had errors. But I do feel bad. I mean, the guy just wanted to get out of just trying to get his case going. Try to help his family out, but it just he just stuck his nose in the wrong crowd. Mr. Citato, not your name. Man, I'm not gonna lie, you definitely are the big saving grace for case 4. Not gonna lie. Gina, I do feel bad for you too. I mean, you went through a case, went through all of that. And this was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But that said, tomorrow we will start the first case of the duology. Okay. 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 The Great Adventure, Ace of Attorney Adventures 1 finished and done. And we get the Fleeting Farewell trophy. Silver trophy too. Yep. And with that, guys, wow, we're already 3 hours. I'm glad it stopped after the last part to be continued on the last part. But that's it, guys. I'm MGunnels3. I will see you guys tomorrow when we start the Greatest Eternal. We will start the second game. Greatest Eternity 2 Resolve is gonna be the next case. It's with its own set of 5 cases. Sis. Hey, sis. Sis. With that said, okay, I'm MGunnels3. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you then.